Nation, we are back and we are here for a very special interview. I'm Katy Perry with Shay, Boloor, and we have a special edition of Daily Rep Live. We are joined by a founding family that has helped redefine what investing looks like in the 21st century. From Tel Aviv to the Nasdaq and from Forex charts to crypto and copy trading, their platform has empowered over 30 million users around the globe. Of course, we're talking about eToro, which today is officially a publicly traded company. They rang the bell. They're turning the page on their 18-year journey. And we're here to ask them all about it. So I'm thrilled to welcome the Assia family, David Assia, a pioneering tech entrepreneur and chairman of the board, and his two sons, Yoni and Ronen. Guys, how are you doing? How are you feeling today?
Very good, very good. Super excited about being here at Nasdaq, actually. We just celebrated and rang the bell today and continued to interviews. Amazing journey the last 2 weeks of roadshow and being a part of capital markets. I've learned so much over the past 2 weeks meeting the top investors from all around the world and the US, traveling quite a bit to meet the large trillion-dollar asset managers as well. And happy to say we're the first fintech IPO since 2021 and the first growth tech IPO since Liberation Day. So happy to have helped the market to open, hopefully for more IPOs to come soon.
You're definitely putting out the positive vibes. I feel like you guys are like the Kardashians of investing. It's so amazing to have the three of you here, generationally, just legendary run. And that's why this IPO feels different. We would love to start with you, David. And you, of course, led the first Israeli tech company on the Nasdaq. That's Magic Software years ago. And so what a moment to be able to do this with your sons. What was going through your head as you arrived at the Nasdaq together and you rang that bell?
Well, first of all, this has been a long ride. It was a fantastic ride. And I initially IPO'd my company here on Nasdaq in 1991, quite a long time ago. The company still is flourishing and exists. And I left and joined eToro in 2008 at its inception as the chairman. And I saw the whole ride all along the way until today, which is a major milestone in their history. It's very exciting. It's very emotional. It makes me so proud of my family, of my sons, on their huge success. And it's just the beginning. I said it since I have the experience with publicly traded companies, that going public is not that you can then go and buy a Ferrari and go to the beach and sail, but it's the beginning. It's a new start for the company, a new exciting start, and hopefully they're going to be very successful with this.
In other words, he's telling me, Yoni, you should now work harder.
Yeah. I want to ask too, to Ronen and Yoni, what, if you remember some of the early investing lessons you picked up from your father, were there any words of wisdom at an early age that helped you on this journey to the public markets?
So I'll tell a couple of anecdotes, because both Yoni and myself grew up in a house where we used to say we live from quarter to quarter, because our father had to run a publicly traded company. This was way before the internet, so getting the price of the stock was quite a daunting task, especially if if you're a small company from the Middle East. And so Thursday nights, when my father was, if my father was not traveling abroad for business, he would take us to see an action movie in the second screening that would usually end around midnight. And when we got back home, he would stop the car at the local bank, and there was a monitor in the window displaying ticker prices. And he would tell me, get out of the car, take a pen, take a note of what's the share price, and come back. So that's anecdote number one. Anecdote number two is that the other way to get the pricing was by getting the evening newspaper. So every evening, about 9 p.m., we would hear this bang at the door. We knew the newspaper is coming. Either Yoni or myself had to go out, grab the newspaper. It was all like a long table, really small typefaces, and we had to find the stock and figure out what was the daily changes. And so these are truly the experiences that shaped us to become fascinated with capital markets, learning about whatever makes the market move or shake, if it's interest rate, if it's inflation prices, if it's financial crisis, if it's a shift in technologies. All of this stuff we learned way back home when we were kids, and that's part of what brought us here today.
I love that. And what a difference some decades make in terms of the UX. And you talk about going to the bank or reading in the paper, and really you all pioneered one of the first investment apps that not only showed the real-time charts, but also built this community layer on it. So I want to pivot to actually the business and the product. Shay and I are pretty interested in your space. We're both obviously retail investors. We talk to a lot of them. Shay, I'll kick it on over to you to ask some questions specific to building the eToro business.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned first fintech company to go public since 2021. I have a thesis on why that is. Essentially, it was low-hanging fruit, not easy money, but there was a floodgate of fintech companies trying to go public in 2021 because, let's just be honest, capital was cheap and growth was the only metric that really mattered in that space. And I think that everyone tried to clean up their interface with a clean UI or some kind of onboarding flow, and they're trying to say they have a moat. So my question for you, in an industry that's highly competitive with low take rates and just they're cannibalizing each other, like what makes eToro special and have that defensible moat that when people think about Robinhood, it's that UI experience? What makes eToro special against all the other competitors?
So I think the biggest part that differentiates us is we're traders and investors, and we love to share what we do. Just like in Stocktwits, we're now the largest social investment network with 40 million registered users. And when our customers open an account with us where they can trade stocks from 20 and more capital markets, when they can trade more than 130 different crypto assets, as well as on-exchange and off-exchange derivatives, then our customers actually share their portfolio with each other, and you can actually see their portfolios and automatically copy the top investors. And at the heart of that is 3,300 popular investors, so people who gradually become professional investors on the platform being copied. Just as an example, our top investor today on the eToro platform has 31,000 people copying him with $100 million. So every time he makes a trade, it actually gets replicated the same time, the same price, and the same proportion through 31,000 accounts. We're the only company that actually can clear and fractionalize shares across 20 different capital markets, crypto markets, and derivatives to actually copy that activity. And then we've taken the same unique patent technologies and actually expanded it to our own product, starting with our machine learning team that started in 2016 to pick who are the top traders. So I told the team, listen, I want a portfolio, a basket of our top traders and an algorithm that rebalances it. And since then, we've built more than 107 different smart portfolios, all based on our own proprietary data, huge amounts of data that obviously we have in eToro from all of the exchanges and Bloomberg. And we create a lot of different strategies, from thematics to go to people who bought Tesla shares on eToro and show them our driverless car portfolio of other companies in the space, to a BlackRock fixed income portfolio. So we're no experts in fixed income because I think it's boring, but some people want to invest in fixed income, and who's better to do that than a team at BlackRock that rebalances a portfolio of fixed income ETFs on our platform, to even learning throughout the process of now meeting a lot of the hedge funds in New York. We actually used AI to look at our data and created market neutral strategies, long short strategies. So again, we replicated the concept of basically RIA network, right, with our popular investor program globally, building a network of people who are talented with also a lot of now tenure on eToro. About 1,000 have a 5-year plus track record on eToro, and we all know how important track record is. They are talking to one another on the platform, and now with smart portfolios, we're able to replicate a lot of the different strategies that exist in the markets that now we've learned to talk to all of the investors across the US that are investing in public companies and learned more and more about those.
No, I mean, I appreciate that additional color. Like, I fully agree with that sentiment. I think I'm a very much of a thematic investor. A lot of my followers know that I take a psychological lens in every investment that I make. And when I dug into eToro, I initially thought it was a brokerage story. I was like, okay, another brokerage story, great in the fintech space. But when I dug deeper, I did start realizing it was a social financial network. And I was like, oh, this is interesting because I'm fully in part of the camp where I think the future of investing isn't about who has the sharpest tools. It's about broader access, democratizing that access. And I think there's a reason why young millennials or even Gen Z doesn't really want to sift through all the analyst reports or scroll through these traditional ratios or metrics. They want to see the smartest person in the room and what they're doing and follow them with that one tap, or you guys like to call it the copyright. So like, what was that the initial thought right from the beginning? Like, you guys wanted to democratize investing by just letting people in the room with the smartest people and just follow them? Or did you guys adjust to that philosophy in the middle of like the past 5 years?
So interestingly, we started the company with the same vision statement that we have today, which is to open the global markets for everyone to trade and invest in a simple and transparent way. And the things that actually change across the years, and by the way, will continue to change, is actually the underlying technology of how do we do that, which started as a desktop app, became a flash-based web trader. And very early on, what we saw is that our customers are actually talking to one another because we had a chat and consistently asking one another, what about your trade? What are you trading today? And that led us to actually think of the concept of becoming a social network, of actually by default making all of the customers in eToro share their portfolios on the platform, and led to actually CopyTrader was patented in 2011 and we launched it back then. And I think through that we had a lot of key learnings. Also, obviously, the switch to the mobile, the introduction of crypto. So it's constantly taking what we believe is important technologies that can help our customers become better and more successful investors. And we've been doing this now for 18 years, are now starting to do this more and more also with AI. But it's about just taking that technology and putting it to a group of people that are willing to share with one another what they're doing.
I mean, that's a radically different go-to-market engine from like the legacy brokerages and wealth platforms. And it is a very powerful position to be in as the investing stack gets rebuilt, because the next wave of retail finance, Gen Z, the generation before that, like it's not going to be defined by these gimmicky features or fees. Like, it's going to be defined by influence, and eToro is already there. So my question is, this is your moat. I feel like in a highly competitive space like fintech, how do you defend that moat, and what implications are you doing in the future to make sure you have that high barrier of entry for all the replicated brokerages try to duplicate what you guys are successfully doing right now?
So first of all, it's the network itself. And when you build a network, there is a network effect and a time-based network effect. So if you think of the 3.5 million brokerage accounts coming from 75 different countries, and only 1 out of 1,000 retail investors actually becomes good enough to eventually become a popular investor, that other people copy them. So when you look at our top copied users, you'll actually see they have a 10-year track record on eToro, 12 years. That's a time-based moat, right? A time-based network effect. And they've been building their communities of other people copying them, sharing their YouTubes and X posts and analysis of what they do. And I think that network of talented people who've been with eToro for a long period of time, generating their track record on eToro, talking to customers on eToro in many different languages, in 20 different languages. So think about a network of very smart people, but in France, trading French shares, and in Australia, trading Australian shares, in the UK, trading UK shares and US shares. So that network, I think, is a significant moat, which is very hard to disrupt without starting as a social network.
No,
Yeah.
definitely appreciate that color, and I'm gonna pass to Katie because I have a couple more, but I don't want to take up all the time.
I have a quick one, but Shay, I think we should continue down your path because I think we're both very interested in just the state of fintech, and we talk a lot about the systems that underpin platforms like yours. I've worked adjacent to investor relations, and one of the more fascinating things I think about your story is you're very unique in the market, in that we were just talking before we went on. You can invest in eToro on eToro. It's very meta, and like you said, you have a track record of a community. When you have that social layer, people trusting each other, you've kind of has this. You have this investor community pre-baked in, and I'm curious, and this is for any of you, how you're thinking about activating that, because that's really special. I think a lot of companies, they don't have that emotional connection with investors. Maybe see a Tesla like that, but you kind of have that baked in, and that seems like such an advantage. How do you plan to make the most of that as you engage your retail investors who are investing in eToro on eToro?
So maybe I'll take that one. I think that if you look at the course of the past 2 decades, what media has become for financial markets is just incredible. As I've said, when we were growing up, accessing financial information was almost impossible, or to at least very expensive. And I think over the years, I'm sitting here in a studio with multiple screens showing charts and real-time news, and that thing just gets published all over the world. So if it's Bitcoin prices or Tesla stock or the FTSE 100 or whatever it is, it just gets published in the media on a daily basis, real time, all over the globe. And I think when we're thinking about how to activate, it's not really about us, it's mostly about the media. It's mostly about the huge community of people who are constantly talking about what's happening in the markets. Specifically, I would say in the last 2-3 years, the markets have become volatile, so there's news almost on exciting news, or sometimes less exciting news, almost on a daily basis now. Everything impacts the world markets. And really, in order to harness that wisdom of the crowds, or really to engage our community of users, is just letting them speak, letting them interact, and mostly letting them have access to the real-time information, so they can be more mindful and knowledgeable about what's happening in the market and create their analysis of it.
It's at the end of the day our belief in retail investors, and that retail investors with technology can be as good as the top investors in the world, whether it's here on Wall Street or any place else. And we've seen across the years the technology getting better and better, and what we do is just provide that access to information to other extremely smart people to communicate with, to new market opportunities, like we started when we launched Bitcoin back in 2013, and it was a great opportunity of simplifying crypto to a new audience. And as you do that, you generate alpha. When a lot of smart people have access to vast amount of data with the best possible technology, you generate eventually alpha, and our customers can share that alpha and smart beta with each other.
I mean, you just touched up on it a bit, where eToro has like the richest behavioral data in consumer finance, because you guys just have so much access to like copy trading and like a lot of your millions of users that you guys have in your own platform that you can see in and out of. Do you think that eToro can become this like recommendation engine for capital allocation, and rather than just execution? So in other words, like the Spotify for investing, because Spotify used to just be, create this playlist. Now they have this intelligence component where they know where your taste is, and now they make recommendations to myself where, oh, you'll probably like this new single that came out. Like, do you think that there's a future where that's what eToro is gonna slowly become, that recommendation engine for capital allocation?
I 100% think that AI is already probably better than 99% of financial advisors out there. And with the use of AI, and the fact that obviously we know our customers, they've been trading with us, but now you can actually ask things like who are other popular investors similar to me or different to me or are uncorrelated to me. So I have no doubt that over time, the AI assistant is going to replace a lot of efforts today that are still made by individuals or very hard to do at all. So, I've been in capital markets chasing alpha since I was 13, but I've never had the chance to optimize my portfolio every day from a mathematical perspective of looking at like correlations of the different assets, et cetera, although I know that's the right thing to do. Now we can spin out agents that do that for us. So I think it's very exciting to think about how AI is going to shape investment management and trading platforms in the next 6 to 18 months.
Interesting. No, I mean, I love that because I'm all in on AI. Fourth Industrial Revolution is humming for sure. You guys are also, eToro's very in the middle of social financing and creator economy. Great place to be in because the TAM is explosive. But in 10 years from now, like, do you think eToro is going to look more like a Bloomberg or more like a social media app like Instagram?
Oof, it's a great question. From a design perspective, definitely not like Bloomberg. But I think over time, it provides more and more financial value to customers who need a solution to eventually trade, invest, save their retirement funds, and be able to spend. We do already have products in all of those categories and continuously expanding them globally in all of the regions where we operate. So I think it does change significantly over the next 10 years. What is the user experience 10 years from today? Probably a lot of it is AI driven and natural language driven as well. And at the end of the day, it's about the largest transformation of wealth in history, right? Older generations are going to transition $84 trillion that are going to move from older generations to Gen Y and Gen Z. That's US alone. Another 60 trillion in Europe, which is a very big market that's actually even less sophisticated right now than the US. And I think the opportunity to constantly cater customers with up-to-date technology, digital native, to be able to, again, compound wealth in capital markets, I think that's a very, very large size opportunity in a global TAM.
No, I love that. I fully agree with that sentiment as well. Another potentially loaded question. Sorry for all these loaded questions, but I am a very philosophical person where I think like futuristic type of inflection points, and you guys are right in the dead middle of what the future investing is going to look like. And I have a theory that in the future, investors, especially retail investors, won't trade based on a ticker or a symbol or a company. They're going to trade on a thematic, just AI or just e-commerce, and it's up to wherever the brokerage to recommend, like, these are the names we bucket into it. Do you think that the end game is going to be in a world where users, retail investors, are just going to trade on, type in AI theme, and that's it? They don't even know what companies they're going to invest in? Or do you think it's going to be very micro still? Because you talk AI,
so
I'm curious on what
I think it'll always be a plural of types of strategies. By the way, you just described our smart portfolio product, right? So you can basically invest in e-commerce, in fashion stocks, in Nordic economy, private equity, REITs. You basically just choose the theme and you're investing in then a portfolio of somewhere between 20 to 40 different stocks, which is rebalanced by our investment team. So 100% I agree. We built that product and it's going very well. But I think, does everything sort of eventually fall into one strategy? And I think there is a lot of benefits to generating multiple types of strategies that are chasing double-digit returns. And that's exactly what you see here in Wall Street. You see, different types of hedge funds, whether it's market neutral, momentum, back to the S&P, different types of long-only investors. So I think we'll always see a lot of different strategies, especially when you think retail and so many people with so many tastes. And therefore, I think we'll continue always to see the world of trading and investing evolve and have a lot of different people trying to do different things.
quick follow-up on that. I've worked alongside fintechs, and I recall conversations a few years ago around the role of AI in investing and exactly what Shay was getting at, which there, if I recall, there was some pushback from regulatory bodies on this idea of recommending. And some of it, at least from my vantage point, seemed to stem from like a lack of understanding of how this tech worked. And I know as a brokerage, you're neutral, you're not supposed to push any one asset, but when data and there's an algorithm informing something, you have a little more leeway because it's not you as the brokerage making that decision. Do you think that there needs to be more education with our government bodies in the US or abroad to really understand how powerful this tech can be and how responsible it can be applied to actually help people make better decisions?
So we are always in communication to many different regulators across the globe. We're regulated here in the US, in Europe, UK, Australia, Singapore, Abu Dhabi, and we talk to regulators always when we innovate. We innovated around copy trading and smart portfolios. We were very early to Bitcoin. We started buying Bitcoin actually to eToro's treasury at $5. I remember showing that to Howard, who called it falafel coin at the beginning. And you always need to explain how you're using your technology. Generally, regulators always want the best outcome for investors. I think we share the vision of using technology to help customers manage their investments, and over time, that regulatory framework will, just as we see in crypto right now, will sort of emerge and structure. In Europe, MiCA this year is very significant for crypto assets. It's finally regulated, and the reason this is a great thing, it's now graduating from crypto to digital assets. All of the large financial issuers are actually thinking about how can I create my fund now as a digital assets that will trade 24/7 on all of these platforms, and we will have this clarity hopefully this year in the US markets as well. We're going to start seeing new types of financial instruments that actually trade like crypto assets.
Now, I love that as well. Like, I'm super excited for you guys. Like, I know we're at the top of the 30-minute segment, but I just have one final question. Due to your family's track history, I would really, really appreciate it for your kids if they have an idea that they want an investor, angel investor, and like, please let me know right away. You have my angel seed investments.
No pressure on the kids, right? No pressure.
Yeah,
No,
no
they
pressure
actually, my 14-year-old and 10-year-old started negotiating with Nasdaq the fees for their listing in 20 years. This morning when we rang the bell, and Nasdaq said third time in a family is free. So we're already saving money. And disclosure, of course, Howard Lindsay, dear partner and investor of eToro, and very proud partners here at eToro of Stocktwits for many years.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys. I know you're busy being pulled in a million directions. I hope you have some time to rest and celebrate. And again, congratulations. I hope you enjoy this special occasion with your families. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you
you
all.
for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.